Okay, so I had some people asking for some help with balancing chemical equations, and so I have this chemical equation here, and let me go through how I would go about balancing it. So the first thing that I would do is I like to actually draw the dotted line. It just helps me keep myself straight between the reactant side and the product side. And the next thing that I'll do is I'll go through and I will count everything that I have. So let's see, I have hydrogens, and hydrogens on the left. When I count them, I've got one from this compound, and I've got two from this guy right here, because remember that two on the outside applies to everything in there. And so I have three sitting on the reactant side. Looking at the hydrogens on the product side, I have two, and that comes from the H2O right here, right? All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and change color, and we'll have counting our chlorines. And the chlorines on the left, I have a single chlorine from that HCl. And the chlorines on the right, I've got two from my CaCl2. So I got one here, one there, or two there. Go ahead and change my color again, and I'm going to count my calciums. And calcium on the left, I have a single one. Calcium on the right, I also have a single one. And this right here, this is the situation where we want all of these guys to be in. Notice that it's the same number on both sides. So then let's take a look at the last one. The last one that I'm counting is my oxygen. On the left, I have two, and on my product side, I have a single one. Remember, because of this, inside the parentheses, I've got two oxygen. So just a hint that was given to me by Mr. Huber, my chem teacher. It makes it easier to balance if you wait for the hydrogens and oxygens. That's just a rule of thumb. It is not a hard, fast rule, but I do find that's helpful. So I'm going to wait and hold off on trying to do anything about the hydrogens or the oxygens right now. So taking a look at what I have left, the calciums I noticed already were already balanced. So I don't have to do anything with them yet. But when I look at the chlorines, I only have a single one here and I have two over here. So now I'm going to start using coefficients. I need there to be two chlorines on the left. And so I'm going to put a coefficient of 2 in front of my HCl. Okay. Now what that 2 does is it multiplies everything in this compound. So now what do I have? Now I'm definitely changing my chlorine, so let's do that first. So instead of 1 over here, now I have 2, but it also changes my hydrogens. I have now 2 hydrogens sitting here, and I have 2 hydrogens sitting here. So now my hydrogen count on the left is 4, not 3. Okay, so taking stock at this point, we have calcium is happy, all right, chlorine is happy, but hydrogens and oxygens are not. So let's go ahead and see if we can't do something about these hydrogens. So hydrogen, I've got 4. Over here, I've got 2. I need this side to equal this side. So I'm going to need to multiply by 2 on the right. And I'm going to do that by using a coefficient. And I'm going to put that coefficient in front of H2O. Why? Because that's where my hydrogens are. And 2 times 2, that's going to equal 4 hydrogens. And notice I am also changing my oxygen count. But let's go ahead and fix the hydrogens. So when we fix the hydrogens, now my hydrogen count is 4. But now take a look at what happened to the oxygens. Now the oxygen count down here is now 2. So if I take a look at my hydrogens, I've got 4 and 4. This guy's happy. Look at my chlorines, I've got 2 and 2. This guy's happy. And look at my calciums, 1 and 1. Oh, he started happy. He's happy, happy, happy. And so then we've got our oxygens. There's 2 and 2. Oh my goodness, he's happy. You get to the point where everybody's happy, and now we are balanced. Because balanced is happy. All right, so for this equation, the balancing is 2 HCl plus 1 CaOH2. Remember, if there's nothing written, just like in math, if there's nothing written, that's a 1. So if you really want, sometimes people really just don't like not seeing a number, you can write a 1, okay? So we've got our 2 HCl plus 1 CaOH2 yields 1 CaCl2 plus 2 H2O. I hope that helps. Miss you guys. Okay, so I wanted to also balance the same equation in a more visual way because some people were asking to see it not just with numbers. So if you are one of those people, this is for you. So if I can go ahead and I can represent my components here, and I'm going to represent them with circles. So I'm going to make my hydrogen circle red. Okay, so I'm just going to call that my hydrogen atom, and connected to that is my chlorine, which I'm going to use as blue. Okay, so this HCl I am representing by one red circle and one blue circle. And then over here I'm going to represent my calcium as green. Okay, so I have one calcium, so I draw one green circle. And I'm going to go ahead and group my OH as one color. So I'm going to go ahead and call OH just as one thing. I'm going to call that yellow, and there's two of them. So this guy looks like that. Okay, so there's just a visual representation. Okay, so now over on the right side, I have calcium, right? And it's connected to two chlorines, which I have chosen as blue. Now this H2O, let's see, let me just rewrite that. Instead of H2O, I'm going to write it HOH, because really that's how it's connected together, and it makes it easier with my circles. So this H2O or HOH is really one red circle, and it is one yellow circle because I have an H and I have an OH. Now, taking a look at both sides, I need to have the same number of colors, the same number of each colored circle on both the left and the right. So right now, looking, I have one red. That looks like that's okay. But notice I have one blue and I have two blues over here. Okay. So I need to add an additional blue. All right, so if I do that, okay, I need to add another blue. Well, I can't just add it by itself because it's not by itself. The rule is if it's connected to something, if I want another one, I got to write the whole thing. So when I write that blue, I also need to write another red. Okay, so right now I've got my chlorine. I've got two of them here, and I got two of them there, and that's okay. But now my red is not happy. I've got two red circles, right? And over here I only have one red circle. And then the other thing that's not happy is on the left I've got two yellow circles, two OHs, and I only have one yellow circle, one OH on the right. So let's go ahead and fix the red. So I need one more red on the right, but remember our rule is this guy on this side, the red is connected to a yellow. So if I want to draw another red, I have to draw another yellow. So I'm going to go ahead, draw a yellow, and now if I take a look, I notice, hopefully, that I have two red circles on the left, two red circles on the right, two blue on the left, two blue on the right, one green on the left, one green on the right, and two yellows on the left and two yellows on the right. So visually I have balanced it in with the circle. So now the last step is to put my coefficients. So I count. I've got two groups of those. So I write a 2. I needed 2 of those. I have a single group of that guy. I have a single group of that guy. And looking here, I have 2 groups of this guy. And notice that whether I had done, doing it this way visually or the counting way we did just before, they both tell us that my balanced chemical equation is 2HCl plus 1 CaOH2 will yield 1 CaCl2 and 2 H2Os.